Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I'm going to be talking about valerian. So this is my first year to really get a good valerian plant. Well, last year was my first year to actually get it to start growing from seed. And I got perennial, it's a perennial, so I got 3 that came back from last year. In fact, I think I only got 3 to begin with, but all 3 came back. And one is massive. It's over 7 feet tall right now at the time that I'm shooting this video, which is June 12th, I believe. And then then another one that's about 5 foot tall, which is as tall as me. And then another one that's only about 18 inches tall. And what I'm going to do right here, is why I like to sit off to the side and leave a gap here so I can show you some images right in here of the plant and the flowers. So I took a little bit of video. You can see right here in this video, the one that's over 7 feet tall. I'm thinking it's probably closer to 8 feet tall by now. And it's huge. I didn't expect it to explode like that. And then I'm also going to be putting pictures throughout here showing the other ones. Now the flowers on the plants are a little different from each other, especially the small one. The flowers are pure white. They all came from the same pack of seeds, so I'm not really sure what the differences are, but the smaller plant just looks a little different all the way around. The leaves are lighter in color and smaller. I'm just really glad to see that they all came back because I've been using valerian root for a while now. I don't use it all the time because I don't think it's safe to use it a lot. But it is very good for many things, and my main purpose of using it, a while back I made a tincture. I did a video on it. I use it for deep sleep and muscle relaxants because sometimes I'll get stressed. My muscles, especially in my shoulders, will get very tight and very sore and they'll just ache. And when that happens, I take a little bit of the tincture and it helps relax the muscles and also helps with sleep. However, it's a very strong. So when I make it again, I'm not going to be using vodka. I'm going to be doing it more as an extract. I'm thinking about doing a combination of the glycerin and my homemade wine to make the tincture, but you can also make teas. Now last night I made a tea from the flowers. Though the root is most commonly used, you can use the flowers as well. The benefits are going to be a little bit more mild. It's going to have more mild effect, especially in its sedative properties. But you should still see some of the same benefits. Now, since I want my valerian to grow, I want to leave the roots alone for a couple more years, the flowers are what I'm going to be using from that. And I still have some dehydrated valerian root that I had bought, I think from Star West or Frontier. And if you're interested in that, because maybe you're not growing it yet, I'll go ahead and link below to the one that I buy. I can't remember which brand it is because I use both regularly on the things that I don't already grow. So let me get busy talking about the benefits and the nutritional value and all that you can find in valerian. So again, as I said, the roots are the parts that are mainly used. However, throughout the centuries, all parts of the plant have been used, flowers and even the leaves. Young leaves were often just used as a food, added in salads. I ate one the other day and it had an interesting flavor. It wasn't very strong like I expected it to be. It was kind of good. I don't know how often people do that, but you can also cook it up and add it to things. It does have some good nutrition in there. And then last night I made a tea out of the flowers and I actually quite enjoyed it, and I found that I slept very well last night, and that's just using the flowers to make a tea from. Not even a decoction, not a tincture, not even an extract. So yeah, it's useful. You can start using it right away, and I have started dehydrating up the leaves. So what the main constituents of valerian that give it its powerful properties are the valerinol and the valerianic acid. And what these do is they help boost or raise the gamma aminobutyric acid in the brain, which is a neurotransmitter. It decreases the central nervous system activity. And so as a result, its most common thing that it's used for is as a sleep aid. There was a double-blind study done, and 89% of the people got better sleep using the valerian root, while 44% got perfect sleep. I think those are pretty good numbers in helping with sleep in general. So if you're having sleep issues, it might be something you might want to consider. But I do have some precautions and warnings I'll get to later, so make sure you watch this and listen to this video all the way through, because valerian may not be for you. Now, as can be expected, some of the other benefits you can get from valerian, or that it's an anti-anxiety and also helps with restless leg syndrome. It lowers the blood pressure, which makes sense because it's lowering your stress levels. And so automatically, remember I did the video on blood pressure. Go ahead and check that out up here. Why I think most people, if not all, should not be medicated for it. You know, because the blood pressure goes up as a result of stress of some kind. But if we can lower our stress, that's where it's important, then the blood pressure is automatically going to go down. It also helps with hyperthyroidism. So look into that, but I don't see it as being a problem if you have hypothyroidism. But if you have hyperthyroidism, it's going to help slow all that down. It's going to bring those levels down, and just another thing you can look into for yourself if you're dealing with that. It's also good for heart palpitations as it helps to regulate the heart. So it's really good for heart health. It may help prevent kidney damage. And as I said, it's a good muscle relaxer and good for joint pain. And I can attest to this. So the things I can attest to most, because what I've used it for is just, you know, it's calming, sedative properties without making you drowsy. That's important. It does not make you drowsy. And helping to sleep and helping to relax the muscles. I've taken my valerian root tincture and just actually literally felt within just a few minutes my muscles just kind of let go in my shoulders, because that's where they tend to pick up most tension. It's good for people who have migraines and frequent headaches. It's going to help with that. And again, when you see how it works, it all makes sense, because a lot of times the migraines and the headaches are caused from stress. It's good for symptoms of PMS and menopause, ladies. It's helpful in epilepsy. It's going to help stop seizures or prevent them, or at least minimize them. It helps improve memory and other cognitive abilities. You can use it as a soak if you have rheumatic pain, and as just a foot soak for general wellness and calming, and just, you know, its sedative properties that way. Used in an ointment, it's really good for skin ailments. It can be for rashes, bruising, or even rubbed directly onto your sore muscles. But as a wash, it's really good for helping to disinfect and clean out cuts, because it's also called cut finger, is another name for valerian. Some of the nutrients contained in valerian are selenium, calcium, chromium, iron, and magnesium. Well, look at there. We got calcium and magnesium coupled up again, as is frequently found in nature, because why? We need to take the two together for them to work best. Especially the calcium really needs the magnesium. So I want to go over some precautions and people who shouldn't take valerian. Now, number one is that some people, valerian is going to work opposite. It's going to, instead of being more sedative, it's going to work more as a stimulant, which means because of that, it can cause everything that I read off, it can actually have a reverse reaction to it. So I would say it'd be similar to caffeine. In some people, in most people, caffeine is a stimulant, but in some people, it's actually a sedative. It kind of depends. It just really depends on a person's chemical makeup. So you got to be very careful when you're trying stuff like this. If you notice right away you've got headaches, stomach cramps, you're agitated, anything like that, and you can't sleep, then it's definitely not the herb for you to help with any of these things. You're going to have to look for something else. In fact, I would probably recommend, if the valerian doesn't work, I'm guessing something with caffeine might, or something that would normally be seen as a stimulant might work better for you as a sedative. That's just kind of common across the board what you'll find. Now, some other things that precautions I want to talk about is that, as I said earlier, it's not something that I would recommend taking every day for a long period of time. In fact, it's commonly said that you should only take it to 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and then give your body at least a week or 2 or 3 to take a break from it for a while. And there's a couple reasons for that. And one, I'm guessing, I don't believe it's necessarily addictive, but I believe that you're going to find it's going to work better for you. For me, I just only take it in a tincture or a tea form when I feel I really need it. Such as last night, last couple nights, I haven't been feeling really great. I've been sleeping so, but just real tired. I felt like I was sleeping okay, but waking up the next day just being just drowsy and halfway through the day feeling like I needed a nap. And that's not me. And so last night I made that tea and added some, I used spearmint from my garden and then added a couple of valerian leaves and flowers to the tea blend. And I found just right away it just made me feel better, and I just had excellent sleep last night. And that was just from the flower and not the root. But that's not something I'm going to do every single night. I don't want to become dependent on that, for one. And right now I only have so many flowers to work with, and so I'm not going to be drinking it every night. And yeah, but it's just a good idea. And I think that can apply to most herbs. Though it's generally known as safe valerian, it's still not a good idea to take it all the time. There's a lot of things that people do for health that really should be looked into, that it shouldn't be a daily, all the time thing. You know, diatomaceous earth is one of them. You shouldn't take it every single day for a long extended period of time. If you're pregnant or nursing, you shouldn't be taking valerian, and small children should be staying away from it. Young children, small doses, I would look into it and just really kind of figure out if you think a child needs it, consider their age, and really start small. And you can also give it to animals, but again, it needs to be regulated and it needs to be small amounts. And also, if you're over 65, it's recommended that yes, you can take it, but again, just like with small children, or just like with children and animals, you want to start with very small doses and find out what you can deal with. And you certainly do not want to be taking valerian if you're taking certain other medications. I would say pretty much any medications, but specifically any medications that's for, let's say, blood pressure or sleep medications or anything, anti-anxiety medications. Another thing that is that valerian should not be taken in tandem with alcohol other than in the form of a tincture, because in a tincture you're taking it in such a small amount anyway. But like I said earlier, I think making just a simple extract without any alcohol, or even just really cut back, you know, like a half with a wine and glycerin, I think is going to be, because it comes out is very strong, and or in the form of a tea is going to be best. But you can make an extract with just glycerin and water. So you go 3 parts glycerin to 1 part water. Otherwise the glycerin's too thick. Just keep in mind that when you do a glycerin based extract, the shelf life isn't going to be as long as when you use alcohol. Now, one more thing I want to talk about before I finish up this video is that valerian has garden benefits too, which I just think is really great. And that is, it helps to nourish the plants that surround it, sort of like dandelions do. It nourishes the plants around them. And it also helps encourage worm activity in that area. So I grow mine, like my biggest one right now is on the south side in my little narrow strip, my little narrow herb garden strip. And then I have 2 more growing back here in my main garden. And I do want to get some more plants. I'm just going to see how well they do on their own this year and see if it will self-seed and start growing now that it's flowering on its own, because starting it from seed can be a little difficult. It took me a couple years. So the trick is with your valerian seed, they're really small, so it's kind of, you got to be careful. But you just take them, put some of the seed in the palm of your hand, take some real fine grit sandpaper and lightly sand over those seeds, and then plant them, and that's going to help them to germinate better. Because that's what I did last year when I started seed, was I just did a light sanding of the seeds and then planted them, and then I finally got some to germinate. So getting it to germinate is going to be the hardest part, but once you get it to grow and take hold, I think you're gonna, it's a perennial, so I think you're gonna have some pretty healthy valerian plants for quite a while, and it will spread. So that's what I've read. And some people even consider it a bit invasive. Oh, and I almost forgot. I was gonna mention that some herbs that it combines well with is lavender, lemon balm, passion flower, and licorice root. And I know it was so long ago, like 2 years ago or so, that I made that tincture, that muscle relaxer deep sleep tincture, and I believe in that one. I was just making up my own recipe, just so you know. I used licorice root, lavender, and passion flower along with the valerian root. I believe I used all those in it, and it does work great for me. So anyway, just some things to look into. I didn't use the lemon balm, but I might try making a tea using lemon balm and the valerian root just to see how it tastes and what kind of results I get from it, and I'll keep you updated on that in future this and that videos to come, because that's when you usually will see my updates on things. So if you don't watch the this and that videos but you want to find out about updates, go ahead and skim through those. That might just be where you'll see me talk about some of these things. So, okay, well, I hope you enjoyed my video today on valerian root, and you'll want to consider whether or not it's right for you, and if you believe that it is, then get yourself some seed and start growing it in your garden. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.